Welcome to Freebirding Friedmans. I'm Lynn Friedman, and my co-host is Joel Friedman, aka my husband. And we have a special guest today. I think it might be our first dad other than you, Joel. And his name is Michael Clark. And he is also a friend of Joel's, and they used to work together. And Michael is now the president of MB Clark Companies. And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
We're excited to have you. I know Joel's excited to catch up. I'll have to try to get a word in edgewise with you too.
Yeah, that might be hard.
Exactly.
Well, there's a few things we want to talk about, but something unique about you is how devoted you are to fitness and the kind of schedule you keep each day, even at our age.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So tell us, for instance, when did today start for you?
Yeah. Oh, today? Oh, today was a great day. So one of my favorite days of the week. So started about 3:30 this morning to get up, which is, I know, is so
3:30.
3:30, yeah.
So forget the 5 a.m. club. This is the 3:30 a.m. club.
This is the
we've got
3:30
here.
a.m. club, yeah. So I get up that early because I really kind of have to wake myself up. Because I've learned over the years that if you wake up and go right to the gym, it's hard to get a really good workout in. But then more importantly, I got to get a meal in. So it's really, nutrition is really important to help when you're doing fitness, especially when I'm competing. And so I've kind of created that routine. So you get up, feed the dogs, unload the dishwasher.
At 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, get my meal in. And then I got about a 15-minute drive and hit the gym. Yep.
So does the rest of the house wake up when, is your wife asleep at that point?
She
or is she
out cold.
So you don't wake her up when you do
all.
this?
I have to be I've learned that over the years. I got to be really, really quiet. So no, not at all.
And then what do you eat at 3:30 in the morning?
So today was kind of an off, I do like high and low days, but today was kind of a low day. So today was oatmeal, eggs, egg whites, and some berries. So pretty simple.
So you're like whipping up breakfast at 3:30 in the morning. When that alarm goes off, what gets you out of bed?
I'm just so motivated. I don't know why, but it's natural for me. So when that alarm gets off, I have no problem. I've never been that kind of person where I got to hit snooze.
Never.
I don't know why. And Joel and I were just talking. It's really weird over the years. Sometimes I will get up and look at my alarm clock like 5 or 10 minutes beforehand and just
wake up naturally.
Yeah. So, and that's usually
I've heard of people like this.
It's the best way to wake up. Seriously, if you can wake up naturally, it's better for you than to be woken up by an alarm or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we say. Right now, it's the dog that's the regular alarm clock that just barks, and 13 and a half years old. So, yeah, when he's done, he's ready to talk about it. So,
nice.
And he comes straight to me. So.
Very good. I love it.
So you're heading off to the gym now. It's what time when you're in your car?
So I would say about 4:30, 4:45, pretty close to that range. And now I'm heading down to the gym. It's about a 50-minute drive.
And I know you listen to podcasts sometimes while you're working out. So what else do you do while you're working out?
Yeah, so I'll say, first of all, when I get there, I like to do a lot of stretching first. So as I've gotten older, I've really learned the importance of what we'll call preventative maintenance. So I do have to spend a little bit of time stretching. So I'm really I'm going through a hip issue. And as we get older, sometimes certain things just...
You and I, we're on the same page on that one.
They just don't work the same anymore, right? So I've got to do a lot of stretching and that preventative maintenance. And then today I just jumped right in and I'm just jamming to music. And so I love listening on Spotify. And my favorite is called this AI DJ. And so the AI DJ goes in and starts just pulling songs that I've listened to. And I can tell it, I want more hard rock. Do I want this? Do I want that? And it really kind of keeps me motivated. So
create your own playlist, basically.
Yeah. And that's what I'm doing when I'm working out and training. But when I'm done with the weights and I'm actually doing the cardio, so if I'm on the Stairmaster or the treadmill, that's when I get to start listening to podcasts. So I love going on to Spotify. I've listened to 3 great podcasts recently from you guys, which are fantastic.
Thank you for listening.
We're fantastic. Then I'll usually hit like YouTube or something like that. There's a lot of people I've been following. This one person I've started following, he's called the MIT Monk. And he really has these great business lessons and learning. So I kind of go through those cycles. I want to start to learn something as well.
Okay, we'll have to add that to our playlist too.
Exactly.
Now let's talk a little bit about what made you get to this next level with fitness, and then what else you do with your fitness. It's your competitions.
Yeah, definitely. So let me kind of go backwards a little bit.
Okay.
So I guess as a kid growing up, I was always into weightlifting. So I was an athlete in high school. Hockey was my sport. Was really involved in the martial arts, but always did a lot of weightlifting. And then went to college, and we'll talk about the great Ohio State University.
The Ohio State University.
4 generations, right?
And exactly. And I tried walking on the hockey team. Unfortunately, didn't make it, but I was a good hockey player, but not good enough to play for Ohio State. And then because I didn't make it, I needed something to fill that void. And so I started really getting more into weightlifting. And so it became a big part of my life. At that time, it was just making me feel better about myself. It gave me a lot more confidence. And also was kind of a mental thing too. Going through college, you need that break, right? That
For
stress
sure.
break.
So
or
you're not
something.
studying every second. You're stressing every second.
But never paid attention to my diet, especially when you're in college. And then so as things got on, right, as things got older, I started doing more and more of it. But then there was a transformation in why I started working out in the mornings. So I didn't start out doing morning workouts. I was always, when you're a young professional, I would have the gym bag in the trunk and you're done working. And then I would go to the gym. And, that's the busiest time to be in the gym is in the evenings,
For
right?
sure.
But where the transformation happened was when our son was born. And so I had stayed home for, a little bit of time with our son. And then I started to go back into that normal routine at work. And my wife's like, she's starting to know this trend where I'm not spending time with my son, my baby, right? Like, wait a minute, Michael, you're not seeing him, you're not spending any time. You need to make a change. I'm like, no, Andrew, I got to work out. She's like, no, you need to make a change. And so that was when the light went on. So I just started getting up in the morning to work out, and it was a struggle. It was really hard to do it. It was hard. And I didn't get up at 3:30 back then. It was like 6 or 5, something like that.
Oh, what a slacker. Yeah.
Slacker, yeah. And it was just really hard. But I would tell you, after about a month, something just clicked, and it just became this incredible thing for me. And what I noticed was I got that workout in. I came home and I got to work, and it was like the monkey was off my back or the weight was off my shoulder because
you did it. It's not like you still need to do it. You did it.
Yeah, because before it was kind of hanging there. Oh, I got to get to the gym. I got to get to the gym. And then if you're growing in your career, you're networking, you're doing dinners, you're doing social events, and then things kind of drop off, right? So this started to become a great path for me because then I could get it done, get it out of the way, and then again, I'm at work and I'm ready to go. Like, how many people do you see that walk in at 8:30? 9.
We're awake and ready to go.
Waiting for that coffee to kick in at that point. And
do you drink coffee too?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I'm a big coffee drinker.
Okay. So before we go a little later into the day, Joel, you want to tell the one story that when you got up really early to work out, what your dividend was?
We were at the Four Seasons in Maui, as a matter of fact, and we got up early first to do a photography session, which was at 6:30 in the morning. Lynn said, oh, you don't have to go. Somehow I got up on vacation at 6:30, and we had a chance to do it. And when we finished, we were like looking through urns and looking at life in a different way. And
coffee urns.
Yeah.
The reflections.
Coffee urns.
Coffee urns,
Exactly. It was
you know?
like beautiful coffee urns in there. And we'd turn around, and Lynn says hi to somebody walking from behind. And I thought I'd be polite and not show my back. And I turned my back, and it's Magic Johnson. I'm like, that's magic at that point in time. And so as we learned, he is very much, he's one that also says, 5 a.m. I think even 5 a.m. for him is, I think he's more of a 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, on that last day, I'm going to go down to the gym, and I'm going to be there at like 4:30 or 5 in the morning.
And he's a night guy.
Right.
This is a big
I know.
big deal.
And so I'm proud to say that I beat Magic Johnson to the gym that day. He was there. I had a workout with Magic Johnson for about 20 minutes before anybody showed up. It was just me and him at the gym at that point. So it was kind of a good dividend for being 3 hours ahead and being able to actually leverage that time difference to be up early.
What's interesting is as I've traveled, and as you know, Joel, when we were working together, I lived on the road, right? And it was always a challenge to stay in shape and eat right. But I would always make it a priority to find a gym, right? Or a hotel gym or something. And over the years, I ran into people like that. Not Magic Johnson, but I've run into Tiger Woods. I've run into Kirk Herbstreit. And I've run into other kind of people you just
These are pretty big names.
happen to see at a hotel gym or something like that because we're all traveling, we're running around, and we got to get a workout in.
Yeah, and I think we read a little bit about him after. I think he likes to say, I'm making money while other people are sleeping. Which is kind of something good to think of. Okay, so let's talk about when you also took control of the diet portion and then went on to weightlifting, and then also how this has helped connect you with your sons.
Yeah, definitely. So So let's go back. So the connection with his son really kind of started when he was about 10 years or 12 years old, and he wanted to start learning how to work out and lift weights. And I said, first of all, I love it. I'm going to teach you, but I want you to follow me and listen to me first, because this is something I've experienced and I can show you how to do this. So he's like, great, Dad. So we went to a local gym, and all of his friends are running around in the gym, and they don't know what they're doing. So they go in and they just start putting on a bunch of weights on the bar, start doing everything. But for a week, I held my son very strict to say, we are not going to put any weights on the bar. We're going to work on our form first. And so that was what we did for the first week. They were just the bar and teaching him how to do his foot placement, how to do things correctly. And then when he did that, and then later he would start adding weights, and then he noticed he was going faster and faster and stronger than everybody else. So that's really where we started this incredible connection of kind of working out together, which was great. But back to your question about the diet. So for me, it was right around 2019 or so. People had for years said, Michael, you should try bodybuilding. You should try bodybuilding. You should try it out. And I said, I don't want to do drugs. I don't want to take steroids or anything. They said, no, there's natural bodybuilding. Like, what's that? They go, well, in bodybuilding, they have competitions where they test you before you go in. So a polygraph, or if you win, you have to go pee in a cup. And they test you to make sure you haven't taken any banned substances. So that's one whole category of bodybuilding. And there's another category of bodybuilding where they don't. So you can do and take and whatever you want to do. So I'm like, well, that's great. I can pursue something that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about it. And then I said, well, wait a minute. I love wine. I really enjoy wine. So that's not going to work. So I just didn't pursue it, right? But then I was Thanksgiving. I went Thanksgiving in 2019 to some switch went off in my head. So let me give it a shot. If I can stop drinking wine for a month, I can do it. And so that's what I did. I tried it, and I didn't drink wine for a month. Now, it wasn't easy at first, but then I said, then I can be disciplined and do this. And so that was the catalyst for me. And so that's how I started. So I went and found a local trainer here in San Diego, had some nice connections. This guy was really well known in the bodybuilding world, a top professional, and we created a great connection. And so he kind of became my trainer and really helped me make that transformation to get into bodybuilding. And it's just been one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
And that's great. And the timing of that, was that around 2019, was that around the time that the sons started to leave the house, or?
Oh, that's a great question. It was just before that. So yeah, so my son graduated right in COVID. The first son graduated, so right then he graduated. I never thought about that connection. That's a good one, Joel. So the first son graduated right at that time, and the other son graduated a year later. So yeah, it was exactly that time.
Yeah. So it felt like that was maybe something you were able to sort of dial it up a notch in a different way once you knew you might have a little bit of extra time, and you could still get up at 3:30 in the morning, but it was no longer because you'd have to be spending time with your sons 100%. At that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
And then do people think that you're a lot younger than you are because of all the work you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, people look at me and I go, well, how old do you think I am? And they say, you look like you're 35 or 40. I said, no, I'm 57. And they're like, no way. So yeah, it makes a huge difference for me.
Yeah, and it's amazing. So you've been an inspiration in being able to do that kind of work, and I know what kind of job that you had while we were together, basically being the executive vice president of sales and marketing for a big company like Argen, which every day is busy before you even think about any kind of extracurriculars. So.
Well, Joe, if you think about it, what I was doing was really helping me even perform my job even better because of my discipline and training and the good diet. Really made sure my health was there, my endurance was there, and it also gave me a mental health because it gave me that stress reliever where I know people who are in those kind of roles who don't focus on their diet, aren't exercising, not getting the proper rest, and it takes a toll and it makes it harder. So I truly believe it makes you a better person. You can perform better if your body and your mental psyche is all in alignment and all doing well.
That's amazing. And just to call out, I know I just listened to it today. There's a lot of discussion about the time when you were in the dental lab business and at Argen. It was Voices from the Bench,
yes.
If I have the name right. Voices from the Bench, episode 319. So we'll make sure that there's a link in the show notes as well. So if people want to hear more about that story, that won't be today's focus, but there's some really great stories leading into that time frame there as well.
This is not your first rodeo.
No, not my first. I've done a few.
And then there were stories Joel would tell sometimes when there'd be lunch brought in or when you'd be at dinners, and you were kind of on your own track no matter what. So can you explain how that worked?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, if we've got customers and we're going out, I definitely did everything I could to make sure I ate similarly to what they did. But no matter what restaurant you go to, you can try to find something to eat. But when we're in the office, I know at first it was kind of weird for people, but I would plan things the night before. So my routine is on Sundays, I would go to the grocery store and pretty much get all the food that I need and go to the grill and cook the chicken and the steaks and baked potatoes and all those kind of things and put them in containers in the refrigerator. So I have it all sitting there. And my routine then was every night before I went to bed, I'd pull out the containers, I'd get the scale, and I would weigh out the food and put it in the containers and put it in my little cooler and stick it in the refrigerator. And so that way, when it was time to go to work, I just took it with me, and I kept it in my office. And so then right before I'd go to a meeting, I had to plan ahead. Like if I knew this meeting was going to be 2 hours, I would go to the microwave and warm it up.
Eat at your time.
And it would be, I ate at my time. And it would be sitting there. And people knew it. Like if it was a 2-hour meeting, Michael had his food just sitting there, and all of a sudden he just opens it up and starts eating.
Because when you're competing, you have to be that
very
disciplined,
regimented.
right? So how's the competition going when you take part in these? Are you finding it rewarding?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about it. So very rewarding. So the first competition I did was about 6-7 months when I first started this process. And so when I first started the process, I said at the end of 19, I weighed about 220 pounds. Don't remember my exact body fat percentage, but it was a lot more back then. And I actually dropped down in about 6 months, and I was on stage at about 168. And I was really, really ripped up. The competition was in Sacramento, and I ended up taking second place out of a bunch of people. So I'm in what's called the grandmaster's class. I will call it the old class. So anybody over 50 is who I would compete with. And so, it was great. And that was fantastic. So that was my first one. And then I did another one, and I did that one in Ohio. And that was a great experience. I not only won my division, they then took all the winners of the divisions, and then they all competed, and I took second overall. So as a 50-year-old, I took second compared to 20, 30, and 40-year-olds. So my title was second place for Mr. Ohio in this one particular classic that I was in. So that was nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that was that. And then I came back to that our competition that I took second in, did that a year later, and I won that. So I came back and I won that. So now I got 2 firsts and a second. And then I found another competition called Iron Man, which is Iron Man magazine, and it was right up in L.A. And that one was hard. Like this was an international competition. The one in Sacramento and the one in Ohio wasn't pulling people all over the world, but this one had people in many different countries. And I did not do as well, but I took third my first time.
That's still medaling there.
It's still getting there, yeah. And then I took another second, and then I got a third again. So my history so far is I got 2 firsts, I got 2 seconds, and I got 2 thirds. So I guess I've always made it in the top 3 each time. Yeah.
We don't get that many times at this stage in life where we get recognized like that. Do they give you like medals or trophies, and do you have them on display at home? And what does that do to help motivate you to stay on track?
Yeah, 100%. They definitely give you a trophy, and depending on where you are and how big the trophy is, but a lot of them give me medals. And yeah, it's a nice little motivator. So I've got it sitting on my desk at my home office, which is really, really kind of nice to do that. But for me, it's not necessarily always the trophies. It's more of when you're doing something like this, you're really competing with yourself. Even because when you show up at a body, I have no idea who's going to be there. Like I don't know ahead of time, right? It's not like a football game.
Or you know your opponent.
You know who your opponent is. I have no idea. So I can only prepare to have myself at my best. Yeah. To be there and hope that my best is better than the person next to me, right? So that's where the challenge is. So you're always trying to do a better job for yourself. And so as I'm getting older, it's obviously getting harder. It's much more difficult as we get older.
Yeah. Now, are there games played in all this too? Is there a psych out? Is it competitive, or is everybody really is supportive of each other, or is there a way that you can sort of have an edge?
I think, I think at this level, what we're doing is a little bit different. So when you look at the really big-time bodybuilding and Mr. Olympias, and that's a whole professional level, there's a lot of money there. I mean, there's not much money here at all. I think the winner may get $1,000, so it's not much. It's much more supportive. Like you would not believe the camaraderie, and people like to help each other out. And they will even point things out and say, "Hey, next time you come back, you should do this, and you'll get a little better." So it's a tight knit community, if you will.
Great.
That's a good question. Good to know. Okay, before we move into what you're doing now, from a professional standpoint, we're trying to also reach out to people who hit a little bit of a slump when their kids leave for college, don't really know what to do if their whole identity has been around being a parent and raising their kids. So if there's someone listening who just can't get themselves started or out of a funk or whatever, what would you say to them?
Yeah, so I would say, first of all, if you want to start doing something completely different, you just need to sit down and believe in yourself, right? I do a lot of self-talk, right? And so I like to say to myself, you know what? This is something I want to do, and I know I can do a good job because I believe in myself. So I think that's the first thing. It's really important that you want to believe in who you are and what you can do and say you can do it. So having that self-talk has really helped me over time. Also, I'm very fortunate to have a supportive wife. And so my wife is my secret weapon. And so I think having somebody supportive of you and going to them and saying, hey, I really need your help. I need your support. Here's the things I want to do. I need you to be in my corner for that. And so that's been a big help as well. And then, believe it or not, calling your kids. I find that to be as well, too. And so I would call my sons and ask them to be supportive, and they would call me and check in with me because you need people to kind of check in and ask how you're doing. So
yeah, for sure.
That's what I think has really helped me kind of go forward.
And be accountable and stay on course.
100%.
All right, so Joel, we'll toss it to you so you can ask Michael a little bit about his business now.
So yeah, and starting to transition. So after you left Argen, it sounds like you had a little bit of downtime, but not too much before you sparked the idea of starting up your own company.
Yeah.
MB Clark.
Yep.
And want to talk a little bit about sort of the journey there, sort of how that came to be. And then probably we'll want to talk a little bit about, some of the things that are there, especially for people in the age group we're likely talking about, what they may want to think about some of the employee benefit programs, maybe some things that are ignored that may even be available that you can sort of give a little bit of insight as to what they should be thinking about.
Yeah.
There.
So Joe, I think you're right. So after leaving Argon, I had some time to really relax, just really kind of get nice and calm and think. And I think that's what happens sometimes. We get so busy and we're running around, so we don't get time to think, right, and really get to think. So that was great. And I really wanted to think about what I want to do next. And so before joining Argon, I was in the healthcare field for many years, working with companies like Aetna and Delta Dental and things of that nature. So I knew a lot about the healthcare field. And I kind of missed that part. And I saw a nice little connection because I knew from a senior level, as a senior executive, how to run a business, how business are run. I know a lot about the healthcare field, and I could marry those two together because I find lots of times when you have a lot of executive leaders, usually they don't always understand how everything works. And I quickly realized that there's a disconnect lots of times in how people are treating the benefit plans. I mean, the benefit plan that companies offer, it's really a form of your compensation, right? It's something you're doing and helping with your employees. And so I really knew there was a way I could help, and I like to help people. So that was where I started thinking about, wait a minute, I can do this, and I can start a business because as a broker, you're not having to go buy inventory. Right? You don't have to go buy an office. You can do things out of your house. It's really your time and your networking to get started. So that's why I thought this was a great way to start getting the business going. And when you're an insurance broker, the way you get paid is you get paid by the insurance companies. So when you go to your customer and they pick a benefit plan, a medical or a life or dental plan or something it's the insurance companies that pay us commissions based on when they pay their premiums. So that's a nice little niche. And so I would go to the companies and they would say, wait a minute, how do I pay you? I said, you don't have to pay me. The insurance companies are going to do that. So that was also kind of nice.
That probably helped open doors.
Oh, quite a bit. But then the other part that really, really helped me was because I was in the dental laboratory industry for many, many years. And the company we worked with was one of the top vendors, leading market share in many, many business categories. So I knew a lot of these labs and the lab owners very, very well. And I started thinking, I have a niche. So people who know benefits don't know dental labs. And people who know dental labs don't know benefits. So I was the unicorn that knows both of them. And
so you could dominate the industry.
I could dominate the industry. Exactly. I could dominate the industry. And so that was another thing. Wait a minute, I can do this. And then I even came up with my way it started is because, healthcare is expensive, right? I mean, it is very expensive. And the law says if you have 50 employees or more, you have to offer a sponsor benefit plan to your employees. But if you have less than 50 employees, you don't have to offer a benefit plan. You're not required to do that. But a lot of employers like that want to do things to help their employees. They just don't know how to do that. So the way it started for me was I got into this area called voluntary benefits. And these are plans that aren't your traditional full-fledged medical plan. These are plans that the employer can offer to the employees where the employer doesn't have to contribute towards the cost of the premiums. There aren't any participation rules like your major medical plans. You have to have a certain participation to join. And it's a supplement. So they're called supplements. So it helps balance what happens on your medical insurance. So for example, an accident policy is a great one to do. A lot of people on these healthcare plans have very high deductibles. They'll have a medical deductible that can be $4,000, $6,000, whatever. If something happens, right? Something unexpected happens and you have to go into the ER, you're in the hospital, you may have to have surgery on something or whatever the case may be, and you come out after being there for a few days and you've got physical therapy and follow-up visits and MRIs and x-rays. Well, you're paying copays for those. You're paying deductibles for those. That can be $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. People don't have $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 sitting in a checking account to pay that bill. Well, if you have an accident policy or one of these voluntary benefit plans, you take that information, you file it with the company, and the money goes directly to you, and you now can use that money to supplement and fill that void with the deductible. So that's kind of how this started, and I started explaining that to people, sharing that with people, and they're like, whoa, this is great. And that's just how the business took off and grew.
And I guess for the employees, they're also able to pay for that on a pre-tax basis as well. So whatever they're putting in as you're trying to do the math to say, is it worth doing it? You really need to kind of consider it on a pre and after tax basis, what you'd pay out of pocket for a deductible or something 100%. Like that.
And a lot of these plans too, you don't have to get hurt to get money back. They will pay you to do wellness. So if you're going to go get a routine physical exam, women get mammographies, things of that nature, they'll pay money for you to go get that done. So you get money back without getting hurt. So it's really
You must love that part as someone who's in both your field and also because you're so into fitness. And then you mentioned earlier when we talked on the phone a little prep for Medicare and insurance, which will apply to some of our listeners.
Yeah.
So do you want to just tell us a little nugget about that?
Yeah, awesome. Great. So a lot of my customers, whether the owners or employees of the company, are starting to get to that age where it's now having to make decisions on Medicare. And so even a couple years before you become 65, there's so much information being funneled at people. I mean, heck, you may be getting information here right now. We haven't even hit 60.
Getting emails.
We're getting emails all the time.
Yep.
And you don't know where to turn. And unfortunately, there's this pressure to say, hey, when you turn 65, you have to jump on Medicare. Is it A or B or what are you going to do? And the real honest truth is you don't have to do that. Now, there are certain circumstances if you're already on a qualified health plan, you do not need to make that move to Medicare. But the reason I'm bringing this up is people don't know what to do. They're unsure what to do. And so that's part of our business is where they're helping and coaching them and then what they need to do to prepare for that. And if they choose then to jump into Medicare, do they want to do an Advantage plan? Do they want to do a supplemental plan? What's the best solution for them? So we're helping them make those decisions and guiding them in those directions. So that's become a big part of our business now.
That's great. Now, as I'm thinking about just the process of going through open enrollment, the standard procedure is you go through, you are sticker shocked a little bit with the cost of medical, and then dental gets sacked on, and then vision, and then generally the voluntary benefits come in. And I think at that point, a lot of people may be sticker shocked to say, okay, I have what I need, that's enough. What would you say to people to kind of think a little bit differently about maybe that whole package and maybe really to read through and see through some of those other benefits that they may have available to them?
Yeah, great question. So I think you're exactly right. So most employers, like you just said, are going to offer the major medical, a dental, and a life insurance, a basic life insurance policy. And then the next one would be a short-term disability. Now, there are some states like California, we have a state-mandated short-term disability policy, but not all states are like that. And then another thing is called long-term disability and even long-term care. So I think you're right. Joe, I think what people need to do is when they look at those offerings, I think they need to sit down and figure out what is going to be best for them on the medical side or the dental side, but then look at those gaps. Okay, if I'm going to take this medical plan, what are the gaps? Meaning, if something were to happen to me, I were to get hit by a car going across the street, whatever, what's it going to cost? Like, I'll give you an example. I personally, not too long ago, had a stupid injury, and it cost several $1,000s. I was walking into my garage. I had one step, like that far into my garage, wearing flip-flops, and my right foot with the flip-flop went like this and flipped, and I broke the fifth metatarsal in two places. So I got a boot. I had a scooter. I couldn't drive. It took a couple months, all these things. I mean, based on that was almost $2,000 to $3,000. Based on my plan that I had that I wasn't expecting to have. Fortunately, I had an accident policy. So my point is, you don't know when that's going to happen. Like I have customers, they're taking a bath. They get out of the bathtub. I mean, think about it. You get out of the bathtub and you step down. What happens? You're dripping wet. You don't always dry off. What do you have on the floor? Tile. Wet foot, tile coming out of the bathtub going down, not good.
I feel like I read a whole article about how dangerous baths are for our age.
It is amazing. It is amazing. So, I mean, those things happen. So you just don't know when it's going to happen. And so it's really important to find out, identify your point, Joe, what are those gaps? If something's going to happen, you're going to get hurt, look at those gaps and how you're going to fill those gaps and what are some options for you to do that.
Yeah, and use that pre-tax money to be able to do that.
And you use that pre-tax money to do that as well. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so before we move on to the philanthropy piece that's
great.
important, do you want to mention your website and how people can, do you want viewers to contact you directly?
Yeah,
or what's your suggestion for them if they're interested in more?
Yeah, it's mbclarkcompanies.com, so www, so it's Michael Bryan, mbclarkcompanies.com. Go there. You can contact me directly right there. It's really easy. You click on a button that says Contact Michael, so it's nice and simple. That'd be great to do that.
And then if you don't have the answer, are you willing to sort of direct them in the right direction of, like, say, these Medicare questions? They could come in fast and furious. And
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know everything. And I don't know everything.
Oh, well, forget about it.
Exactly. I had a meeting today, or a new meeting with one of my great customers, and I've been doing things with them for years, and they asked me a bunch of questions. I just didn't know some of those answers. So that happens a lot. So first thing is, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Second of all, I will go find the answer for you quickly. And if I can't get that answer for you, I will connect you with somebody who can give you that answer. So that's the most important thing. But yeah, I do not know everything.
Yeah, first sign of intelligence and wisdom is to know that you don't know.
So. Exactly. Yeah.
And then earlier when we were talking today, you wanted to mention before the podcast ended the importance of philanthropy and volunteerism to not only helping others, but also helping you.
Yeah, I think it's probably definitely germane to the whole theme of what we're doing here in your podcast. Sure. So when I was in my early 30s, I got in the insurance industry. I got very involved with a service group called Rotary. I was living in Kansas City at the time, and it was very fulfilling for me because I got worked with a group. We were giving back to the community. We were raising money for children's charities. We were working in soup kitchens. It was fulfilling for me to give back. But then over time, my career took me to different places. I got out of sync. I got out of connected, and I just kind of lost that connection or lost that focus. And it had been probably good 15 years since I've been doing that. So literally, not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, I was sitting there with my wife. I'm like, something is still missing in my life. And I just felt this void. And she says, Michael, you haven't been involved in Rotary forever. Why don't you get back into Rotary? And it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. It's
we
great.
need to have her on the show for all this great guidance. We'll have an entire Andrea show.
It was great. So I got back involved with Rotary. And so right here in San Diego, I'm involved with the Rotary Club of Del Mar, so Del Mar, California. And I love it. It has been fantastic. And so I'm really involved. We are doing a lot of things, feeding San Diego.
Huge need.
Yeah, I mean, heck, Saturday we're going to be meeting at the beach in Del Mar. We're going to walk around and we do that once a month. We're picking up trash and cleaning things like that. And so we're just doing so many things and giving back to so many different people. So I love it. And it's fulfilling. So I think for this podcast and talking about people going through this transformation in life, I think giving back and getting involved in some sort of charitable organization, whether it's religious-based, not religious-based, whether it's Rotary or Kiwanis, doesn't matter. You're giving back. It's a great way to get involved, and it makes you feel good about helping other people.
And you're building community and probably making some friends and business contacts, I would think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that does happen, and maybe business will come out of it, but it's not the focus for me, right? Obviously, the focus is giving back in the community. But yeah, we're definitely making some great connections and made some very good friends.
And that's great. And if you wanted to be part of the Rotary Club, is that something, is it like a fraternity initiation, or do you just say, I'm interested, sign up and pay a fee? Or
yeah, you got to memorize and you got to do some push-ups. No, I'm just kidding. So I know definitely in San Diego, and I know in other parts of the country, there are Rotary Clubs everywhere. And so they're always looking for new people. And so what I did to choose is I just looked up all the Rotary Clubs that are close to my house. Rotary Clubs meet at different times. There are what we call breakfast clubs, where they'll meet for breakfast at 7 or something in the morning, or 6, but that's not going to work for me because of my routine.
It's like lunchtime.
Right, so. It's lunchtime for me, right? There are some clubs that do lunches. I even know some clubs that meet at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever. But this worked out great because our Rotary Club meets on Thursdays at 12:30 at a restaurant right in Del Mar Pacifica, and so I knew that I could commit to that. It was perfect, and so I literally just called them up and said I want to get involved, and they opened me with open arms, and we started getting involved. So people want to get involved with Rotary, that's the best way to do it. Just Google search a local club, find out when they meet, find out if there's something you can do. You don't have to go every single week. That was kind of this old thing Rotary did a long time ago. But if you can commit to it maybe 2 or 3 times a month, I think it's a great thing to get involved with.
Put it on the list.
Yeah, we can start with you. I have a few other volunteer things going already.
You do.
But
you're good
you two
at
would
that.
have fun together. All right. Well, we are probably getting close to the point that we have to wrap up.
Okay.
But
We got to get him home for bedtime.
That's right.
Exactly, for bedtime.
The sun's still shining.
Exactly.
But yes,
good night moon
exactly.
time at Michael's house. Did you have anything you want to say before we wrap up? We usually like to give the guests a chance to do a wrap up.
Well, no, first of all, I am so glad, Joel, you reached out. It was a pleasure, and it just really lit me up that you thought about the experiences that I've had in my life that people would want to hear about. And I think that is just, it's humbling, right, to know that. And so that just made me feel so good. So I really appreciate it. And I like to say I'm a passionate leader that likes to help people be successful. So if there's anything I can do to help people be successful in anything they want to do, I want to help people out. So that's what makes me feel good, and that's what I want to do.
Well, that's great. And being an inspirational guest is, as we're just getting started on our podcast journey, is a great way to help us out as well.
Love it.
Well, will you come back in a few months and we'll have touch base?
Anytime.
And, I guess there's something coming up in football season you guys might want to just mention in the future. I think you have a team you like. You might want to just end with that.
The last time we played, did we win, Joel? I can't remember.
Which
it was in the playoffs. Was in the playoffs? Was the first year of the playoffs?
It was the first year of the playoffs. I'm remembering the last time maybe an Alabama team would have. I think it was a national championship that went the other way. So
I went to the Ohio State University, and obviously Joel has a connection with Alabama. If we'll say that.
Oh, that's right. Yes, our son, of course, does go to. Did graduate from Alabama.
Your checks went to Alabama. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So you're an Alabama alum just by that way.
Part of the family. Yeah.
So one of the great things I think that brought Joel to us closer, like at work, not only because we were peers at work and we had a great connection. I mean, it's great when you have finance and sales and marketing working together. Yeah. But also our love for college athletics and college sports was such a passion. Obviously for Cal and Stanford for you, and of course Alabama, and for me, the Ohio State University. So I'm a little spoiled in that standpoint. So I was very fortunate. My grandfather graduated from Ohio State. My father graduated from Ohio State. I graduated from Ohio State, and my son just graduated from Ohio State. So it's been a long history in our family.
Well, that's great. And our mutual boss, when we were at Argen, graduated from Michigan. So that was always good for a little bit of fun.
It was great
in the office.
He was such a great sport. Like we had this great, and we were winning, and then all of a sudden the tide turned, and we were losing. But it was always just such a great time.
Well, you better make sure you get back to the Wolverine Crusher we saw you come in with. That's actually the name on the car that you drove in with. So I know it's all about the Buckeyes and Ohio State. So best of luck. Tough season in the end after a very good start to the season, but I know they'll be back. So.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will put your website up on the screen. And thank you so much for listening to Freebirding Friedman's. This episode is supported by Friedman Multimedia, LLC, our family's creative home base. Through Friedman Photos, our storytelling podcasts, and thoughtful CFO-level financial guidance, we help people capture memories, find their voice, and move confidently into their next season. Wherever your journey takes you, we're thrilled to be a part of it.